Hey everyone, this is David Brown with the migration update for April 7th, 2025 from the Derby Hill Hawkwatch. It was a really beautiful morning with sunny skies and light southerly winds, so we started at the North Lookout. Here we have an American crow that was chasing a hawk, and looking at the size of the hawk, it's actually quite a bit smaller than the crow. Based on the shape, we know that it's an accipiter with that long tail and the rounded wingtips, and overall it's got kind of a square tail and a small head, and that together with the small size make this a sharp-shinned hawk. With that sunshine and southerly winds, it didn't take long for some groups of turkey vultures to get moving. Here's a group of turkey vultures gliding towards the lookout. With the sunny conditions, it was a good morning for photography. Here we have a woodpecker. We see a lot of spotting to the underside, and we see yellow throughout the wings and the tail. This is a northern flicker, and of course the variety we have here in the east is the yellow shafted, and we see a black mustache indicating that this is a male. Here we have another bird with a lot of yellow to it, but this is a different species. On this bird, we see the yellow is more on the throat and the underside to the body. We see a long, thin, pointed bill, and we see a relatively short tail. This is an eastern meadowlark. From the North Lookout, we had 42 species. Whenever you have conditions like these with sunshine and light southerly winds, that warm air is going to be rising and getting blown out over the lake, and cold air from the lake is going to fill back in underneath. So we knew it was inevitable that we would get a lake breeze, and that kicked in and forced us down to the South Lookout around 10:30, and that's where we stayed the rest of the day. The wind stayed out of the northwest or the north at a moderate speed the rest of the day, and it was a fairly chilly wind, but we had some sun, although it did start to cloud over into the afternoon. But overall, a fairly pleasant day to be out. Here we have a buteo with a belly band and dark patagial bars. This is a red-tailed hawk, when the dark trailing edge to the wings and the red tail indicate that it's an adult red-tailed hawk. And we see this bird has a pale throat, so this is a pretty standard eastern red-tailed hawk. Here we have a small raptor with pointed wings. We should be thinking small falcon, and looking at the overall facial pattern, as well as the overall coloration, where we have an orange back, an orange tail with a dark tip, and blue and black wings. This is a male American kestrel. Here's the same male kestrel with its tail fanned out, and you'll notice that the outer tail feathers are actually banded. They're just black and white. So when it completely folds its tail, those are actually the feathers you're going to see that fold onto the bottom. But all of the feathers in between in the standard tail pattern, like this one has, are orange with a black tip. Here we have an eagle, and we see a lot of white in the wing pit areas, indicating that this is an immature bald eagle. In fact, this is a juvenile or first-year bird. Here we have another eagle, but on this bird we see a relatively small head with a golden nape, and we see 3 points of white, one in each wing, although on this wing here it's a little bit broken up, possibly by some molt, and the base of the tail. So 3 points of white and a small head with the golden nape make this an immature golden eagle. Here we have two species that you wouldn't normally confuse out in the field because of the size difference, and they have a quite different style of flying and flapping. But from this going away angle, they actually look fairly similar, so I thought that was interesting. On the left, we have a northern harrier, and on the right, we have a sharp-shinned hawk. Here we have a buteo that has kind of an orange wash to the underside, some black and white patterning to the wings, some light shining through near the wingtips, and a dark tail with thin white bands. This is an adult red-shouldered hawk. Here we have a hawk shaped like a flying cross with a long tail and a large head and wings held out mostly straight. And we see brown teardrop streaking concentrated more to the upper breast, and you can even sort of make out a rounded tip to the tail with the outer tail feathers being a bit shorter. This is a juvenile Cooper's hawk. Here's another hawk where we see that same flying cross shape with the large head and wings held out straight. And on this bird, judging by the plumage to the underside, it's an adult Cooper's hawk. Here we have a hawk with a large dark belly band and dark patagial bars. This is another red-tailed hawk, but judging by how heavily marked this one is underneath and the dark throat, this is probably from the northern subspecies. And let's finish with one final adult red-tailed hawk. And again, this one is just moderately heavily marked and has a pale throat, so it's a typical eastern or borealis red-tailed hawk. From the South Lookout, we had 40 species. I had 2 new species for the season today. Both were flyovers in the morning, and those were yellow-bellied sapsucker and fish crow, bringing my season total to 111 species. Taking a look at the hawk count report for our migrating raptor totals, today we had 465 turkey vultures, 5 ospreys, 12 bald eagles, 20 northern harriers, 33 sharp-shinned hawks, 4 Cooper's hawks. For Buteos, we had 6 red-shouldered hawks, 92 red-tailed hawks, and 1 rough-legged hawk. We had 2 golden eagles and 4 American kestrels, for a total of 644 migrating raptors. That brings the April total to 7,065 and the season total to 25,368. Looking at the forecast for tomorrow, we're looking at periods of snow with wind high near 30, winds west-northwest at 25 to 35 miles per hour with 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. So definitely not looking good for tomorrow. The count will either be shortened or possibly even completely canceled. For Wednesday, we're looking at a mix of sun and clouds with a high around 36 and winds west-northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. We'll be at the South Lookout, and we'll probably get a moderate push of turkey vultures and probably smaller numbers of other migrants. And Thursday's looking cloudy with some rain moving in the afternoon, a high in the mid-40s, and southeast winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour. So it seems like good winds for Thursday. We'll just have to see what happens with the timing of that rain, but Thursday could end up being a nice day for things like sharp-shinned hawks, so we'll keep an eye on that as we get closer. All right, not a bad day out at the Hawk Watch. We had a really fun group of observers hanging out, and I think we all enjoyed having a bit of sunshine today and a pretty steady raptor flight. So no complaints, and it's looking like the weather's a little bit iffy coming up. Maybe some southerly winds for Thursday and Friday. Some days with bad winds coming up, so we'll just have to see. But by the time the weather turns around again, as we get into next week, we'll be coming into the period when we're starting to get broad-winged hawks, and then the season really gets going. So hope to see you out soon at Derby Hill. From Lyco Birds, this is David Brown. Thanks for watching.